and welcome to my channel. This is Too Cute for Cancer, and my name is Jody. And today's subject is about sex. So I'm going to give a warning, or if you're uncomfortable about talking about intimacy, then you might want to catch another video of mine right now and come back next week. I'll put a link up here and you can join me after you've watched some other videos. But if you want to stick around and hear about sex and intimacy after a mastectomy, or any chronic illness actually, but specifically mastectomy, then stick around because that's what we're going to talk about. All right. Now, just for clarification, we are going to kind of go over a, vocabulary lesson. When I talk about sex, this is just the background. I am not a sex therapist. I am not anything. This is just from my personal experience in the last 20 years and having a double mastectomy and having implants and having cancer, and by counseling and being with other women that have shared their experiences with me. So my goal for today is to hopefully help someone in this position feel a little bit more comfortable and good about themselves. Okay, so let's get started. Now, first off, when you have a mastectomy, you're usually being told you have cancer at the same time, right? So you go in and they say, okay, you have cancer. They tell you what kind, where it is, what we're gonna do. A lot of times there's chemo before they do surgery. Sometimes there's surgery first and then chemotherapy, all depending on your situation. But really, all of a sudden you're shell-shocked with a life and death situation. And then backed up with that, they're telling you, okay, we're gonna go in and do surgery and we're gonna give you a mastectomy. We're gonna take your body parts off, and they're focusing on really not the body part, they're focusing on the lymph nodes. We might have to take the lymph nodes. We're gonna see when we get in there, and then we'll see what the pathology, and it's all really focused on the cancer itself and staying alive. Okay, and then there's the decision, okay, do you want to do a double mastectomy and not have any implants or reconstruction? Do you want implants? Do you want implants at the time of surgery, or do you can you do the expanders and then go back later and put the implants in, which means two surgeries. Sometimes they can do it all at once. There is a host of information that is thrown at you, and a lot of times you're just kind of like, you're like, when you're in the ocean and the waves come up over your head and a little bit too much water gets over you, and you're like, uh-oh, which way am I? Which way is the shore? And you're just kind of like, and you're praying that you're gonna pop up soon. That's kind of the way it felt for me, at least, when I had to make these decisions. Okay, so after that, when it's all said and done, you've made your decision, and it's usually pretty quick, you are left to deal with the aftermath. And I think it's like a PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, in a way, because it is a trauma. It does happen suddenly. It is not something that you plan, and now you're left with this body that is not your own. And even if you get implants, it's still an adjustment. So we're going to start with those adjustments, and I'm going to try to give you some tips that may help you and your partner, you and your spouse, be able to maybe communicate a little bit better about being intimate after the tide kind of settles down. All right. There's two different things with intimacy. There is the sex, where you're just scratching an itch. It's a physical need. You just want to do it, get it on with it. And then there is intimacy, There is where you don't, you just want to hold hands, you want to feel each other, you want to, you just want that connection. And then there's the third category where you get both, which is, in my opinion, the best. All right, well, what happens often, I've been told by many other women, and I know myself, you and your spouse are not trained, they don't really give you any counseling in this area, usually, like, after go to sex counseling or whatever, and often you just don't feel it. You don't feel like yourself. And then on top of you not feeling yourself, a lot of times with breast cancer, they're going to be doing a medical hysterectomy. They want to put you into menopause. So you have all these hormones going on. So not only do your tatas get chopped off, your vagina area gets more dry, and it is not something that is comfortable. But at the same time, you desire intimacy. You want that normal rhythm to carry on. And a lot of times after everything's said and done, every couple has their own rhythm. They have their own way of telling each other what they want to do, when they want to have it, whatever. And after, for myself, my husband and I, we had years of 30 years of back then only 20 years, 25 years of knowing what we like, when we like it, how we like it, that type of thing. And so from the male's standpoint, he's got two different things he might be thinking about. He might be thinking, let's just keep things normal. Nothing's changed. She's all better now, right? Even if she's got new ones, it's almost like, woohoo, a new toy, right? Okay, well, it's not that simple. Things still might be a little different, okay? And second thing is, he might be feeling like, I don't know, am I being selfish by saying I want to have sex? Am I being selfish by, am I going to hurt her? I mean, there's so many things that go through the husband's standpoint, let alone what you're going through. And sometimes the communication doesn't happen. And often I've been told that in marriages, what happens is the sex is put on hold. Or it happens and it's not satisfying. It's not like you have that before cancer, before this, before that. You have, my body before cancer, I used to be able to do this. My body before cancer, or before cancer, I used to work this many hours. Before cancer, it's the same thing. Before cancer, we had great sex. There's always that before and after. So I'm just going to give you some tips that we found that worked for us, and we found most of it by trial and error. I have to be telling you the truth. It wasn't like, we just knew how to navigate through this new land, So first thing, the woman has to feel attractive in whatever body she is left with. She has to feel like she's pretty. And the man telling her that she's pretty, oh honey, I love you, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 makes no difference at all. Listen, no difference at all. It may help, but no. What helps, you have to feel beautiful within yourself. So it starts there. So you have to maybe even, have to go through a time of adjustment, and you might have to let go of the things that used to make you feel good and adopt some new habits that might help you. Like, I remember one woman, we're going to call her Anne because we don't want to use names. Anne said that before cancer, she felt so self-confident that she could go without makeup and, wear a ponytail and feel like she was all that. After cancer, it was a struggle. She was left with one side of her boob gone and the other one was still there, and she struggled with clothing, and then the effects of chemotherapy on her body, and it just not feeling well and stuff. So she started experimenting with hairstyles, short hairstyles, because her hair grew back and obviously it was short. Well, so then she thought, short hair, I've never done short hair before, so she started playing with earrings, and then she started wearing makeup. And that's what it took for her to feel pretty, whereas before she didn't need that. Afterwards she did. Now the opposite could be true. You know, it might be that you enjoyed getting fixed up and doing your hair and, you know, doing all that kind of stuff, and now you're just too tired and you don't feel good. You don't want to do that. So you have to find something that makes you feel good. And it's all so individualized. It is not a one fix for all women. So there's that. The woman has to feel confident and attractive in her own body, and that might take some time. And the second thing is men needs to be honest with the woman and not just give canned answers. If they feel like they want sex, need sex, they need to not lie about it. Just say, you know what, I enjoy you. I enjoy your body. I enjoy having sex with you. I love the intimacy. But it's okay because you know what? I'll be okay. But don't, I remember one situation, my husband thought he was being like helpful by saying, you know what? I could go my whole life without sex. I could just, as long as you're alive, baby. That's a lie. That's a lie. So, and I knew it because I appreciated the effort, but you know. Okay, so communication is going to be the key thing. You have to communicate whether it's a need. I need to have sex physically. I'm missing it. It could be just intimacy. You know what? I don't know what I feel. I don't know how I'm going to feel. But maybe we could just start out with holding hands or kissing or, you know, talking. But one thing do not do, and I think this puts a lot of pressure on women. I know that we tried it and it was a bad idea. We decided I got the all clear from the doctor. I was feeling pretty good. And we decided, and I had implants put in. And so we had decided, hey, let's get a hotel room. Let's make it special. Because it had been quite a while since I was sick and surgery and all that. So we made a big romantic weekend out of it. We went to a nice restaurant, bought a nice lingerie, you know, the whole thing. And we got that weekend all built up in our minds. And then when it came down to it, it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And there were tears, there was frustration, there was a little bickering. And so I think let things happen naturally. Don't try to force it, and don't put any special expectations on yourselves. And as far as communication, don't communicate during the moment. Communicate outside of bed when you're not wanting to do it. That's a big one. And just talk about it. Just say, you know what? I don't know what I feel like. I don't know. Okay, sorry about that, guys. The timer on the oven was going off. Anyway, where'd we leave off? Okay, so communication. Don't communicate in the moment. Don't have expectations. And be clear. If it's a sexual need, you just want to scratch an itch, be honest about it. If it is a intimate where I just want to feel close, I want to hold your hand, be honest about that. But don't get the two confused. They can be together, and that's awesome. But sometimes when you put so much pressure on the one, and it doesn't work, and then you end up feeling bad about yourself. Your spouse feels like, what did I do? Did I hurt her? You know, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And one thing for the male, if you are listening, men, be honest with your wife. If you want to have sex, tell her, you know, I want to have sex, but you know what? It's okay. You know, we'll wait until you're ready. Or women, you can please the man without you having to do things. You know what I mean? So you can be willing to meet his needs without your needs being met. That is okay too. So don't fall in with your before cancer. Before cancer, we did it every Sunday and Thursday. Or before cancer, we had that look, or, you know, we touched each other behind the ear, or whatever. You know, get rid of that. That might come back. but just know that you're starting fresh, and communicate about it. So those are the tips that I think would have been helpful to us, and the things that I've heard from other women that are difficult. Now the second thing, or third thing, sorry, is the physical part, where women when they're given all the estrogen blocking medications and stuff, it throws you into menopause, early menopause, and your body is not working the way it used to be. It's like all of a sudden you turn into an 80-year-old woman and you're like, what the heck? So your mind is saying, ooh, baby, come on, and your body's saying, whoa, back up. So there are things you can do, and my suggestion is, don't wait until it happens and it's a problem when you deal with it, because then you set yourself up for failure and frustration. So for example, with vaginal dryness, that's one of the main complaints that I hear from many women because of the estrogen blocking medications. And you know, you get in the moment and you're like, whoa, and then you're like, oh man, then again frustration, and then you have like the whole thing again. So even before you get there, just plan on some backup and get whatever you need. Coconut oil works. Get some vaginal stuff going on, and prepare for it. So when you're in the moment, you don't have to be like, oh man, whatever. So always plan. Don't expect anything to be like it used to be. And you know what? If you want, sometimes I've heard from women say, you know what? I don't want to have to deal with any of that right now. I just have to figure out who I am with this new body, who I am with this diagnosis, how I'm feeling. I can't even worry about sex right now. So just say, you know what, I don't put an open ending, I don't want to have sex, because we don't want it to go on for too long. Set a time frame. Just say, you know what, we're going to take a day vacation from sex from this time. Take the pressure off. And if you know that it's not expected of you, then it takes a lot of pressure off of you. So those are my tips and tricks after a mastectomy, to kind of get you, communicating with your mate, and maybe lessen some frustration, and maybe start some new habits after cancer. So you won't be always saying, oh, before cancer. Now you're going to say, oh, before cancer, but now, wow. That's the goal. And always know that your spouse loves you. And if you get it wrong, if it doesn't work right, you know what? It's okay. Just communicate about it. And that's all I'm going to say on the subject. All right, you guys. This is not our normal sit-down talk, but I asked you guys in a questionnaire a couple months back, and on my Instagram and on my YouTube, what subjects you wanted to talk about. And this was one of them, so I kept putting it off and putting it off, thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm going to say, I don't know what I'm going to say. And then so I started praying about it, and I started thinking, okay, wait a minute. You know what? I do have some tips and tricks that I can maybe share. So there you go. You guys, if you're not already following me, this is not a normal topic. Maybe you can try some other videos and see how things are. But if you'd like to support my journey and be a part of our community, then hit the subscribe button and set that notification bell so you don't miss any great videos like today's topic. All right, you guys, have a great day, and I will see you next time at Too Cute for Cancer.